What's going on, everybody? It's Dot Bets. We're checking back in. We have week 2 NFL live show coming at you guys with my boy Sidekick Picks. How are we feeling today, Side?
Good. How are you doing?
Man, I feel better. Last week, I just felt like discombobulated. Everything was like, okay, it's week 1. Let's get after it. But I feel like I've went through more of a thorough process, more of the same, what I'm used to this week, and kind of gotten settled in. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, pretty good. I felt like I had a good read on it last week. So just trying to find what is best, what research I'm finding best, and just fine tuning that.
Yeah, and we are live at 10:30 currently, or 11:30 Eastern time. There's a buttload of news that drops at this time. So if we miss something, throw that in the chat. We'd love to hear from you guys. Also, make sure to go and follow at props.cash. Also, use them we both use them thoroughly. Use code on the dot for 25% off. This show cannot be done without props.cash. We appreciate those guys there. They've been truly supportive of both of us along our journey of handicapping. Shout out to props.cash. On the dot, 25% off. It'll be in the ticker below. So if you guys want to go and use their software, they make player props easy to maneuver through and see if you want to take it or not. We'll take you through their system as well. We have our slideshow that will have our picks. So we'll have, I think we have one spread or one total, and the rest of them are props today. So we'll recap last week, but we're going to get after it. And we really, really feel good about this card. Like I said, I felt like I came back into my process, had week 1 jitters, week 1, kind of get back, kind of get used to everything once again. But we are ready to get after it. So with that, make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. Once we get 100 subscribers, we're going to give away $100. I think we're currently at 71. So we are slowly getting there. We appreciate the support. And also, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. That'll help with the algorithm. Make sure we pop up in a lot of people's news feeds. So help us out there. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. All right. Enough of that. Enough of those plugs. There we go. I just saw Swift was in. I know that he was a big question mark. So Swift will be in for the Lions. That game is a catastrophe for the Lions injury-wise. I think they're out with their cornerbacks and some of their offensive line too. So that'll be a strange game to watch here. But we are going to get after it with our picks. So let's recap last week very, very quickly. We went 3-3 for minus 1.7 units. For whatever reason, Burkhead got more touches than Pierce did. Unfortunately, we had 2 units on there. That's just the process there. I'm not concerned with that. We nailed the Eagles Lions. The 49ers absolutely crap down their pants in the second half of that game to mess up that teaser. But if you tuned in, that line was already gone. So we did tell you just to take the Vikings money line. So hopefully you guys did. If you guys did, put that in the chat. Let us know that you guys cashed that one. Barkley was a beast, like we both thought they would be. And ETN, that was the worst beat I've had in a long time. So if you guys weren't watching, he had like 27 receiving yards in the first half. Targeted a bunch in the red zone.
Cashed it.
Yeah, and then he gets truck stick, and the ball goes flying back like 8 yards, and he doesn't catch a pass the rest of the game, and we lose. It was just.
And then the Pierce was a bad beat too. He had 11 going into the 4th and never saw the field again.
Yes, that just wild to me. And then I will give credit where credit's due. I was unsure of this pick, but Ingram over 2.5 receptions cashed last week for my boy Sidekick. So kudos to him. Like that. See, that's where we just think differently sometimes. It's good to bounce some stuff off of one another. But we feel very confident about this card. I think we should see some green on both of our ends. So let's get after it with the first pick. This is play that I was just confused on, and I'm still confused on it a little bit. We have the Dolphins Ravens here. The line opened up at 46, I believe, then got steamed down to like 43.5, and now it slightly came back to 44.5. But these are two teams right here that I think could just really, really make for a shootout. Dobbins, I actually made this on Friday night. I thought Dobbins was going to be back. He looks like he's kind of an iffy play. So let me know in the chat if he is playing. Maybe Rappaport came out with a report.
Everything I read was don't plug this guy in.
Yeah, he's more iffy than good to go. But the cornerbacks for the Ravens are hurt. You have Tua leading the charge here with Waddle and Hill, and you saw how lethal they could be last week against a solid defensive team in the Patriots. So given this game could have a little bit more of a shootout here, I really, really like the points. And as Justin points out here, Dobbins is out. So I'm all full go here at 44.5 for one unit on the Dolphins Ravens. You got anything to add here?
The only other take I'm with this game is I'm taking Dolphins plus 3.5 just because of the Ravens injuries. And last year the Dolphins kind of held Lamar in check, so I'm banking on that to happen again today.
Yeah, and the Dolphins defense looked solid last week against the Patriots. However, it is the Patriots offense. They're not very lethal. Now you have to go up against Lamar, who is I truly think he's playing for that big contract, kind of like an Aaron Judge in MLB. And he's going to ball out this season. So I'm really, really pumped about this game. I'm seeing the line right now on DraftKings at 44. So go ahead and take that as well. I'm not too shy on that total here. So we'll go to the second play. And this popped up last night. I texted Side right away because he's a Colts fan. And with Pittman being out, this opened up the game completely. And this was a guy that I was kind of on for DFS early. Then I know Taylor's going to get his. But, man, Hines over 30.5 receiving yards. Just I don't understand it. And currently, if you want to get it now, it's on DraftKings at 29.5. So I even have a bad line here. I'm okay with going over 29.5. He had 6 receptions on 6 targets for 50 yards last week. And that was with Pittman. I know they were playing from behind the whole game, but this is a place that the Colts have always struggled. And to think that now without Pittman opens up a buttload of targets. Beat writers have come out and said he's going to play more of the receiving role today. I truly, truly like Nyheim Hines over 30.5. And if you want to go get him on DraftKings, it's 29.5. I know you got something to say about this because you're a Colts fan.
Yeah, I took this play too as soon as you said it, and I loved it. They're without their 1 and 2 receiver. Their number 3 receiver is Paris Campbell, who hasn't done anything ever, and he didn't really do much last week. So this is a guy they trust. Like you said, he's going to be lined up at receiver more, so I like him to get his touches today.
Yeah, and I hate that you said that about Paris Campbell because I actually picked up Campbell in my league to be my wide receiver 3 this week in fantasy. It's going to be I did, so we're gonna go with it. I wish I could pick up Hines, but he was already rostered.
I'd rather take Doolin over.
And speaking of that, Justin, who's a humongous Colts fan, he just says Doolin to the moon. Yep. So he's always been on Doolin, and I get it. He's a bigger receiver. I can definitely see him catching a touchdown pass today. And if you guys do have any questions over fantasy start sit, anything DFS wise, any prop, we can look it up for you guys. We are here until 11 o'clock Central Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. So we got about 20 more minutes, and let me know if you guys have any questions or not. Next pick, we will go my last prop for me. CMC. Man, you could take his rushing plus receiving as well. I'm going to bank more on his rush yards here. The reason why I say receiving yards is because you saw Dontrell Hilliard just go off on these Giants linebackers for for the Titans last week. But man, CMC, everyone's kind of worried about it. He was number 1 overall pick, 1 or 2 between him and Taylor. Don't let 1 week worry you guys. He's going to be the main factor here for this Panthers offense. McAdoo came out. He's really bad at not showing his cards, and that's all he said in every press conference. We got to get CMC more involved. Got to get CMC more involved. He's going to be the focal point here, both receiving and rushing. I got this closer to 74 rush yards, so I see some value here at over 63.5 for 1 unit. You got anything to say here on CMC?
In theory, he should hit over both receiving and rushing yards, but that offensive coordinator scared me a little bit last week. So personally, I'm staying away from it. But I mean, he's one of the best backs in the league and should definitely hit it.
Yeah, and I'm not too worried. He's came out and kind of beefed it up. Should be a tightly contested game. We have over under at 43.5, so nothing jumps out, but it's at -1 currently. It actually flipped. The Panthers have been dogs all week. It's been +2.5 to +1.5. Now they are currently favorites. So, hey, they get up, they start running the ball a little bit more with CMC. Definitely can see that happening. So now we got sidekick. He's his first play. Go take it away.
Yeah, so Tyreek over 65.5 receiving yards. I'm pretty sure this jumped to about, I think it's at 70 now, maybe 70.5. I took it earlier in the week. So my projections have him at 81.6 yards. So even if it's at 70, I still feel safe and comfortable taking it. We got about a 54% chance of this hitting. If you watched any of the Dolphins game last week, he had 12 targets, 8 catches, 94 yards. So this is a guy they brought in, and he's going to be heavily used, and we should see more production from him today, especially with a lot of those corners from Baltimore being hurt.
Yeah, and the current line on DraftKings is 68.5. Would you maybe dial back a half unit to this, or you're still good with that number?
Take it.
Take it. Perfect. So we were texting in the midweek, and Edmonds receiving yards popped at like 18.5, and we automatically took that. I gave it to my subscribers. I'm sure Sidekick gave it to his subscribers as well. So that's the only disadvantage of doing the props on a Sunday morning. You don't get the most, the initial line, but sometimes it's okay to not get that line and maybe dial back a half unit or so if you see something on the show. We try not to give away too much of a disadvantage to the viewers on Sunday, but 65.5 to 68.5, I could see Tyreek doing that. Right.
Especially a guy that's I mean, his yards after catch are ridiculous, so I'm not worried about 3 yards with him.
And one play that I didn't leave on the card, I have it on my whiteboard next to me. I didn't even take it myself. I circled it, but it was Tua's overpass attempts. So I really liked Edmonds receiving, Hills receiving, and then you could correlate that with Tua's overpass yards. I, however, just didn't get there this week, but I could definitely see it. And Justin says Edmonds is over 23.5 now. So yeah, we got it 18.5.
I still like it. He had 40 last week.
And he's the integral piece. He's the only wide or running back that's going to catch a ton of passes for him.
My projections have him at 23.9, but I still think he goes over 23.9.
Yep. Yeah. So you guys can take that. That is a subscriber play for me. I know it's a 2-unit play for Side. So, I mean, let's get after it with Edmonds. But Tyreek is the official on the dot show play here. And we got another play here from Side.
Yeah, so DK Metcalf, if you watched any of that Broncos Seattle game last Monday, he was featured all the time, running quick routes. So he was targeted 7 times last week, and he brought in 7 of them. So just a guy I think catches the ball really well, big physical receiver, especially if he's running those quick routes. He's gonna catch it. So I think we'll see similar results from last week. So I really like him. They'll use him often. The only thing that I'm a little hesitant about with this one, which wasn't a factor when I took it, is the weather. So we're having 30-mile-an-hour winds and rain. So little torn on it now, but when I took it, I loved it.
Well, to counter the weather argument here, I like this because watching Monday Night Football, Geno's not going to push the football down the field. They're going to just do these intermediate throws, and that's where maybe Lockett long term doesn't look like the greatest option here in Seattle. But they're going to keep feeding DK. They have to keep him relevant in this offense. So, granted, yes, there is some not so good weather here, but I can see them short intermediate throws here to DK all day, and he can go up and get it with the best of them. So I'm not opposed here to this play. We got, let's see what it's currently at. Yeah, it's over 4.5 still. It's at -140 currently. Definitely can go ahead and take that. And the last play here, and then we'll give out our anytime touchdown recommendations here that we've taken. Take it away here for your last play side.
Yeah, so I'm taking Duvernay under 30.5 receiving yards. This is a guy that doesn't see a high percentage of snaps. Yeah, he went 4 for 4 last week and hit over this mark, but over his career, you haven't really seen much of it. Last season, he went over 30 yards 3 out of 16 games that he played. So I think we have really good value here. My projections have him at 29.5. So, I mean, there's a little wiggle room. I just don't see it, especially he has to be perfect in order for him to go over this mark.
Yeah, and I'll back you here with this one because you didn't see Mark Andrews too involved last week. I believe that changes this week. You still have Bateman who can do his thing, and Isaiah Likely is going to be involved no matter if anybody likes it or not. He's run a bunch of slot routes in the preseason. He's shown that he can work in week 1. Duvernay, I think he's peaked in week 1. I really do. He had did he have 2 touchdowns or 1?
He had 2. He went 4 for 4, I think,
Yeah.
50 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Can you repeat it? I highly doubt it. And like I said, the Dolphins do have some good cornerbacks there. However, I do believe we see a bunch more of Andrews, Likely. And if you are playing DFS, Likely is a really, really good punt play, especially if you're doing some stacks with Ravens and you want to get a little bit different. Isaiah Likely is like 2,500, I believe, on DraftKings. So incredible punt play. I think he had four targets or 4 receptions last week. Really, really like him. So we'll recap here shortly. We're going to be here till about 11. We'd love to hear questions from you guys. Start, sit, any props. We're going to go over to the props.cash platform, and we'll show you guys through that. We'll see a couple props that we'll take a look at some of the props that we have on here already, and then our anytime touchdown plays we'll throw at the end. So we are going to recap this slowly. Dolphins, Ravens over 44.5. Nyheim Hines over 30.5. We got CMC over 63.5 rush yards. Tyreek over 65.5. We are okay with that to 68.5. DK, let's get 5 receptions from him. And then we have Devin Duvernay. We are going to fade him and go under 30.5 receiving yards there. So let's go into the props.cash platform and get after some analysis here. So granted, this is a lot of the last season's stats. So they give you the platform to see basically how it's gone, but then you also have to project it. So that's where I like this. You're going to have a lot more value 2 or 3 weeks in, 4 or 5 weeks. You'll see kind of how people progress. But as you see, Lamar Jackson's pass yards or Tua's pass yards, it's all past season for right now, and then you have week 1 here. But they do a great job of passing yards on the side here. They do it week by week. Then you scroll down, you have offensive snaps, pass attempts plus completions, 40-plus yard pass, 20-plus yard pass, all types of information. Season, you can do last 10, you can do versus Baltimore, home, away, games with or without certain players. So definitely a resource that me and Sidekick thoroughly picked. And it doesn't matter if it's NFL or if it's NBA or if it's MLB. We use them sports throughout. So any particular prop you want to look at? You want to look at maybe CMCs or you want to look at Metcalf?
Yeah, either one's fine.
Let's go Metcalf first. So then you just toggle it between receiving up here, pops up with the lines. And the one thing that they did go and they added this season. Let me show everybody. Let's go to today's trends, and you can see hit rates, odds, and first touchdown. So they added first touchdown notes here, and then the odds. So you can see over different sports books what the line is. Easy. Because I remember in years past we've had to kind of finagle our own, but now it's simply right there in front of you, and you can go ahead and.
When you look at the prop too, like you see how it says over -109 or under -110, so it's going to put the best odds already in there for you. So if your book's not offering that line, then you need to shop around a little bit more.
And then you can all toggles up here: receiving yards, receptions, reception, the longest reception, and then anytime touchdowns here. So as you can see, very good history here with DK Metcalf being a focal point of this offense. You're getting a quality line and a divisional opponent. You can see he's played these guys twice last year, like they always do, and he recorded at least 4 in each one. So we're just projecting them to get a little bit more than that today. So easy way to maneuver. Let me know if you guys have any questions. We can look it up on props. We can give you our analysis as well. We'll be here for about 5 to 8 more minutes. We got a comment here from Corey. Starting Diggs at wide receiver. Should I start Singletary at flex over Ayuk or Amari full point PPR? What do you think, Sod?
I don't like Ayuk today just because of the weather. And I'm not really a big fan of Amari. So I think the Bills will probably run it a little bit more. They should get up on the Titans. So I like Singletary out of those.
Yeah, 10-point favorites, I think, on Monday night against the Titans.
Yeah.
I'm okay with sticking with Singletary. Ayuk, if the weather was better, I would probably lean to him because a lot of attention is going to go on Debo. A lot of attention is going to go on Trey Lance. If it was nice weather, you could pivot towards Ayuk. And Amari, I'm in full Amari fade mode until something happens. I just can't get behind that offense besides Chubb or Kareem Hunt whatsoever. So that's how I would play it. I'd keep it with Singletary. I know probably 2 Bills in the lineup scares some people in season long, but with the heavy 10-point favorites, Diggs should get his.
Yeah, Diggs is going to get his. So
Yeah.
that's not a worry for me at all.
And then I'll just briefly talk stacks. If you guys are playing DFS this morning or this afternoon for the main slate, my favorite overall stack is the Miami Baltimore game. I have both sides of that stacked with Lamar and Tua. My other one, I did have a full game stack on the Cardinals and the Raiders. However, I'm just going to do the Raiders in that game. I'm not going to bring it. I'm bringing it back, 3-by-1. We've always talked about this. If you tune in my YouTube channel years past, and then also in our Discord, we talk about 3-by-1 strategies, which is 3 offensive players from 1, including the quarterback. So if you go Carr, Renfro, and Adams, you're bringing it back with James Conner, Hollywood Brown, or Greg Dortch today or something like that. I felt a little bit better about the Raiders side than I did about the Cardinal side. So I ended up going just the Raiders. And then the most disgusting thing I did was go Carson Wentz stacks.
Hey, I don't mind it. I really don't. He had a good game last week.
See, I don't mind it, but it's just so disgusting. Like in my head,
how many people are going to have that out there?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I hope it's a little bit more contrarian, and for whatever reason, they get after the Lions secondary that missing a couple cornerbacks. But the Commanders are a sneaky defensive play because everybody's going to play the Bengals or the Jets or somebody low between that 2,200 range. Maybe the Saints at 2,400 or so. But the Commanders at 2,700 against that offensive line that's struggling for the Lions. You could see him getting after Jared Goff. He's not the most agile quarterback. He's not going to scramble much. So I can see a bunch of sacks, maybe some turnovers here for the Commanders defense. But yeah, so let's go last 2-3 minutes or so. Let's go over anytime touchdowns. So who is your best bet to score an anytime touchdown today?
I think best bet is Mike Evans at plus 105. Tampa Bay is without Julio Jones and without Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans typically catches one every week. I predict that his production is going to increase today without those two slot guys in the lineup, so I really like him today.
Yeah, he is their main target in the red zone. Love that play. I'm okay with now with no Julio Jones there playing. I think Lenny gets in today too. So you could go Lenny and Evans, maybe same game parlay. But yeah, I'm with you here with Mike Evans, anytime touchdown.
And plus odds is really good value. I was surprised to see him at plus money.
Plus 105, yeah. And it might go down before the game with Julio, but I doubt it fluctuates too much. And I'm going to go to the worst offense in the league. I was just not too high on that. But the Steelers' defense against the run is really, really bad. And you've seen Damian Harris do his thing in years past. Plus 130. I'm going to take Damian Harris here. Nice little value play. If you want to go crazy with it, you can get Ramondre Stevenson. I think it's like plus 260. So bad bet offense, but I'm thinking if they get into the red zone, there's no way against Damian Harris getting in against this weak Steelers defense up front for sure. They give up, Joe Mixon ate them up last week, and I get it. Joe Mixon's a little bit better than Damian Harris. But goal line scenario, give me Damian Harris today. Any other – you want to throw out a crazy one for everybody? I know you're thinking of it.
Yeah, I'll throw out – there's a couple guys I like from the Colts game. I'm a homer, so I gotta put a guy out there. I'm between three guys. One of them's going to catch it. It's either going to be Mo Alley-Cox, Ashton Dulin, or a guy that I am really big on today, which is Kylen Granson.
Woo!
Kylen Granson had 7 targets last week, brought in 3 of them, and we should see more production from him today. So, and he's at plus 320, but then big Mo Alley-Cox is plus 400, and he's always a huge red zone target. So either one of those guys, I think, has tremendous value.
I would lean more Mo Alley and Dulin, but that game opened up a buttload of value here for the anytime touchdown. What I'm going to stick with this game, and I'm going to go on the opposite side, and I know I made fun of you last week for Evan Ingram, but I think he gets in the end zone. Because hear me out. We got the Colts. They're missing Shaq Leonard again. They are weak against tight ends. They have not been very well against tight ends. I think this Jags offense can move the football today. Give me a big target in the red zone. Evan Ingram at plus 370 now is not a bad bet. So a couple of long shots in this game we gave you guys, but our pick to click for me is Damian Harris and Mike Evans for sidekick. So we will conclude on that. Let's hope one of those two or both of them get in. And then we will have another episode of our podcast on Monday. We recap the full week and then look forward to next week. So tune in on Spotify or iTunes. And then we also do a video podcast that we post on YouTube as well. So just make sure you hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. We're here all season long. on Sunday mornings. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and make sure to check out props.cash and use promo code on the dot for 25% off of your purchase. It's for the monthly subscription, so it's just take 25% off $19.99. It's a steal. One of the greatest software platforms that there is for gambling in the industry. So shout out to props.cash. Any final words, Side?
I think we covered it all.
Yeah, let's get a positive card. I'm really, really excited. I really like the subscriber picks that I threw out, and these today. I think we get some good value on some plays. So let's make some money today. And
Sounds
with
good.
that, we will get up on out of here. We appreciate you guys tuning in.
So, yep.